It's BD back at it with another low effort video. And I'm not going to do any sponsor plugs or my own plugs or whatever, because I just want to talk today about an issue I see a lot of. I thought it was just young men, but it turns out it's men of all ages fall for this trap. It starts out with the idea of the old adage that comparison is the thief of joy, and how people that claim themselves to be hyper competitive are really just hurting themselves in the long run by constantly comparing to where they rank with other individuals. So first, what spurred this today, and granted, I'm a little pissy today. There's something in the air, guys, and it's just setting me off much as everyone else. Someone first commented the average penis size was between 5.5 to 6 inches, which I completely agree with. Someone was basically like, I only care about what young athletic men's averages because their lifestyle is going to lead to better erection quality, therefore their penises will be bigger. And I'm like, okay, but you're worrying about maybe a quarter of an inch difference compared to the average. Why would you get yourself so worked up over it? Second of all, this is just a tangent. The invention of Cialis and Viagra completely leveled out the size as you age. So most 50-year-old men can now have the penis they had in their 30s and 20s because of Viagra if they started early enough. Anyway, so he pointed out that he was such a hyper-competitive individual that he needed to know where he ranked against other like-minded people and other people of his same, let's just say, pool to know what he needed to do. And quite frankly, he is putting, and I did the same thing, he is putting his self-worth in other people's assets. Okay? So, for example, I went to a very small school in a very small town. We're talking like maybe 3,000 people. When I went to college, literally the student body was 21,000. It was the fifth largest state school in Pennsylvania, IUP. Same university Johnny Sins went to, and I think you can catch my drift. It was a party school. I don't party. I don't like getting out that much to begin with. But I would see, first of all, people in ROTC or people that did their GI Bill. So they would be pretty buff from just basic training. And they would be in their mid to late 20s already. And then we'd have the D-ball gangsters, as More Plates, More Dates would put it, who would be absolutely jacked at 20, 21, 22. Meanwhile, I was 190, 6'1", so like it's not like I was an absolute slouch or anything, but like seeing these guys that are my size now at 26, it really made me feel scrawny. And on top of the height, I was the second tallest kid in my class of 50. It's not like that crazy, I know, but when I went to IUP, we were talking just the freshman class was going to be about 6,000 to 7,000. So naturally, there would be a lot taller individuals that I would run into more often, and that would make my own perception of height feel smaller, right? Just because it's something you're seeing every day. And the same idea goes with penis size. If you guys are constantly watching porn with 7.5 to 8 inch penises, your 6 inches is going to look small by comparison, even though it is well above average if you want to look at the data. And that kind of goes to my point that if you're constantly trying to compare with others, you are taking your own self-worth out of your own control. You are going to be setting up this weird external motivation loop where you're like, I want to look like that guy. So you work your ass off, you end up getting close to looking like that guy. Now you're like, that's not enough. I want to look like that guy over there who's bigger and who's taking steroids. So you're going to consider taking steroids, which depends on your opinion on the subject. But knowing that he took steroids to get that body, for example, would conflate your own morals in a sense. Because, like, if he did it, why can't I do it? But back to like just goal setting in general. And all this comes down to is that letting someone else's appearance, assets, state of lifestyle, whatever. Control your decision making takes away your free will. If you want to do something, just do it. But it needs to be for the right reasons. Like, I still bodybuild, even though I'm pretty comfortable with my body at this point, because I love bodybuilding. I like getting the pumps, I like the muscles, I like the routines, and I like pushing myself. However, 3 years ago, I was still like, oh, I'm not good enough. I need to continue on. I need to look at these SARMs, right? And that's what got me down all this crap with like steroids and stuff that I don't really talk about much, because it's a fine edge on education and then promotion, right? So anyway, what I'm just trying to get through to you people, and you guys won't realize this until you hit your lowest point, is that with just letting these thoughts of not being good enough in your head get to you and warp your perception, you're never going to be fully happy. When I was in that state, and trust me, I was in that state for almost 10 years, I hated myself. I didn't really think of it that way at the time, like, oh, I'm just working on myself. No, you probably hate yourself. You probably don't like the way you look. You probably have low self-value because of it. You might say you have a high self-worth, but really you're saying you have a high expectations of yourself. That's not the same thing, because those high expectations are what's pushing your current self-worth down. Now, again, I'm not saying that you need to be happy with everything that you have right now. Like, I'm not happy with my waistline, for example. However, I'm not going to let it eat away at me, because I know that all in all, I'm pretty good. I'm happy with everything that I've accomplished, despite it not being for the right intentions. And once I let go of this anger and this need to be better than people for no real reason, the journey, if you will, got so much easier. It is ridiculous, because, for example, when I was cutting because I was a chubby boy last year, the first month before I had my ego death, I absolutely dreaded it, because, like, no matter what I did, I still looked pudgy. But once I got to first the tipping point, which is like where, let's say you hit about 18% body fat, and then it looks dramatically different every couple percentage points instead of every 10 to 20 pounds. Anyway, just letting go of who I thought I was supposed to be, instead of just accepting myself as is, as a work in progress, it got much easier, because I had that less mental stress in the back of my head. It's like, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you fat fuck. So, where was I? I tripped a circuit in my brain there. Getting rid of that own negativity in my head, because I stopped fucking caring about my own representation of myself, made it just so much easier, because my stress levels dropped, like, mentally speaking, and then I could just fall in love with the process all over again, like I did in high school. Instead of like, oh, I gotta prove this asshole wrong on Reddit for calling me fat, or oh, he's saying my penis still isn't big, or whatever, even though it's 8.5 inches. I'm gonna have to get to 9 inches now. No, it's stupid. Same with any career goal, right? I'm definitely rambling at this point. And I know this is going to fall a lot on deaf ears, but, or is it deaf? Deaf. Anyway, I just wanted a little more awareness to this phenomenon, that this hyper-competitive mindset that we instill in each other as men is really just hurting us in the long run. And I don't know necessarily how to, like, correct for it, but because if you want to accomplish anything in life, you need to have a bit of an ego and thinking you're worth a damn. But at the same time, your own ego can't be the only thing about you, right? Like, because ego is self-worth. If you have an overinflated self-worth because you've accomplished so much, and no self-worth because you have accomplished nothing because you're only 20 and you still have a lot of life left to live, for example, you are never going to be happy, because if someone, let's say, attacks your overinflated ego saying, he's not all that, you're going to get very pissed because your ego thinks you are all that, right? Yeah, I mean, it's an insult either way, but like, some men have literally destroyed their business empires because their ego would not let them see their own mistakes. And then there's some people that won't even try because their ego and their own self-opinion is so low they don't think they're worth trying. So you need to find the point that is true neutral, not too highly, not too lowly, where you truly are. And that's where you'll find the best place for growth, progress, and overall fulfillment. And I'm not saying I'm there yet. It's something I'm still working on, but since I started trying to find true neutral, my life has gotten much better for it. Anyway, stop comparing to others. Honestly, you might even want to just stop comparing to averages and just do what the fuck you want to do because you want to do it. Okay? As long as it's healthy, as long as it's not for proving someone wrong, you are fine by me. Go for it. Just make sure you understand the implications of what you're doing before you do them. And that's going to take self-reflection and understanding of why you tick that way. Okay, hopefully that comes out clear what my message was. I'll have more stuff soon. I just wanted to do a bit of a low effort video for the algorithm, and this has been picking out my brain since I cut my grass. So anyway, this is BD signing off.